the way I showed you how to do these problems, that's the way I was taught how to do them. And I noticed yesterday that maybe a couple of people were a little meh about them. So I thought that I'd have a look at it and redo these 3 problems that we did in another way that maybe would be a little easier for you guys to gather. So you don't need to write anything down, or maybe you want to write something down. Maybe you just want to watch. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you need to do is cool with me. So please notice I have taken the work we did yesterday and shrunk it. And I'll do this over here in a different way. But notice some of the stuff's going to be the same. All right? For example, in this first question, I got Tim and I got Bob. We're keeping that. Now, Tim is 4 hours to paint a room, yes? Right? Everyone agree? Okay. Now, if we say, how was the wedding? Nice. So, some of you were a little weirded out about where I got these fractions. I thought. Like, I just got that vibe yesterday. So, here's the way I'm thinking that maybe would be easier. Since we have a time and essentially a distance, don't we? Right? What we really have there is a rate, right? Like kilometers per hour, yeah? So what we have here is, and I'll use the blue for Tim, 1 room per 4 hours. Does that work better for everyone? Okay, which means Bob is 1 room per 3 hours. Now, this is the same, like I said, as 1 kilometer per hour, right? Everybody with me? Okay, now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to put Bob and Tim together. So we still have that, Tim plus Bob, right? And that is our 1/4 plus 1/3. Now here's where the change will occur. What are we trying to find? We're trying to find the how long it's going to take them to paint that 1 room, yes? So are they still painting that same 1 room? Yeah. But we don't know how long it's going to take them now. So what would go here? This is where our variable would go, right? Because I don't know how long it's going to take them to work together. Now you'll notice it's almost the same work, right? 1/3 and 1/4, you can do that. That's over 12, yeah. And that is going to be 3. That is going to be 4. So I'm going to have 7 over 12 equals 1 over t, right? And now I have fraction equals fraction. So what do? Cross multiply. 7t equals 12. T equals 12/7. And we end up with the same answer. One of those should work for all of you. Whether you think about it in terms of just Tim and Bob equaling some rate, or if you give Tim and Bob a rate to equal 1 room. One of those should work for you, yeah? Is everybody okay? All right. Rhea, you weren't even here. You watched the video? Shut up, you did. If I go on there, I'm going to see 1 view.
You'll see 2 because I watched it.
2? All right. I'm gonna. No. Then that would be embarrassing for the people that just told me they watched the video and didn't. All right. So this one is the same thing, yeah? Right? If we do it the other way, right? So what do I get here? I get James, and I shouldn't have used the same first letters there. That was idiotic. James is 1 root per 40 minutes, right? And Jeff is 1 root per 50 minutes, right? So, put it together. It's 1/40th plus 1/50th equals 1 root in how many minutes? We don't know. So that's where the t goes. Now, I don't need the roots in minute anymore, do I? Because that's redundant. We've used it 3 times, right? So let's kill it. And then we would do the same math, right? The common denominator is 200. We know that. So that needed to multiply by 5. That needed to multiply by 4. So I have 9 200ths equal 1t. And what do? Cross multiply. 9t equals 200. T equals 200 over 9, which is what we had over here. Is everybody okay with this now in one of the other ways? Yeah? If thinking of it this way works for you, you're allowed to think of it this way. If thinking of it this way, setting up the rate with James and Jeff works, set up the rate with James and Jeff. It doesn't matter. Because as you can see, you're going to get the same answer, right? Okay? And let's have a look at Kyra and her boyfriend. Because it's slightly different, right? Because what was different here? He waited patiently. We had how long it took them together, right? So Kyra was still 1/40. And notice I'm not writing lawns over minutes anymore, right? We're cool with that, yeah? And Billy Bob was 1 lawn in t minutes, right? Because we didn't know Billy Bob by himself. But together, we did know it. It was 1 lawn in 24 minutes. So it's the exact same equation, right? 1/40 plus 1/t equals 1/24. Now, when we did it with the t over here, we're in a bit of trouble, aren't we? Because now we got to change all the denominators, or do we? Couldn't we do 1/t equals 1/24th minus 1/40th? Right? And then I keep my fraction here. And this, then I only need to care about these denominators, right? And that common denominator was whatever it was, 960, right? So 40 minus 24, 16 over 960. 16t equals 960. 960 is t is 960 divided by 16, right? Do I need to finish it? I don't mind. I'll finish it up here. 1/t equaled 40 minus 24 over 960. 1/t equaled 16 over 960. 16t equaled 960. T equaled 960 over 16. T equaled 60. And since we were working in minutes, it's 60 minutes. Everybody cool now with one or the other? Yeah? Okay. If this didn't help you over here, then ignore everything I just said. If it did help you, ignore everything I said yesterday. Or in the best of all possible worlds, be able to work with both. Cool? All right, let's go on. My man Jamie. This applies to all of you, except you won't row your boat down the Fraser. You'll say, Mom, I need to ride the Langley. That's okay. But let's pretend it's the old days, and you actually had to canoe to Langley, because there was no highway. See how I make this part of social studies? Nothing? Huh? This one question. You could say it's part of social studies because we use the river as the highway. You could say it's physics because we're dealing with speeds and distances, and it's math because we're going to do algebra. Wow, that is spectacular. The only way we could make it better is if we went down to the shop and we actually built a canoe. Man, this one question could be your entire grade 11 curriculum. Because, of course, we'd have to buy materials for the canoe. Ooh. Next year for this unit, not you guys, sorry. My grade 11s next year, we're going to build a canoe and paddle to Langley. We're not really. But it would be wicked awesome. Let's go. No one would die. Why you got to be that way? All right. As soon as we see anything to do with speeds and times, what should be in our head? Anything to do with speeds and times, what should be in our head? Anything to do with speeds and time. Pardon? Kilometers and hours, which are? A rate. Excellent. And in physics, or in life, we know that speed, or in physics we say velocity, equals what? Distance over time. Right? Kilometers per hour. Kilometers / hour. KMH. Kilometers over hour. That's why it's your speed. Now, of course, as soon as you know that, what do you also know? What's time? And what's distance? I know you can do algebra, ladies and gentlemen. In this one, speed was isolated. In this one, time was isolated. Now I want you to isolate distance. So what do we have to do to isolate distance here? He waited patiently. Yes, multiply by time. Speed times time. And you all already know that, yes? Of course you know that, because you've done Science 10, because you're in Pre-Calc 11. So you all already knew that, right? Of course you did. Now, questions like this, I find it useful to set up a chart. Some of you may disagree with me, but I think that would be silly to disagree with me. What are the 3 things we need to do questions like this? We need to worry about 3 different values. What are they? Hey, speed, time, and distance. Nice job, everyone. We need to worry about speed. No. We'll start with, we need to worry about distance. We need to worry about speed. And we need to worry about what color to do time in, pink. Yeah? Okay. Now, what else do we need to worry about? Read the question and tell me what else we need to worry about. Read the question, ignoring my good comedy. There's current, right? So there's 2 different parts to this question, isn't there? There's when the current is helping me and when the current is harming me, right? So there's current, and then there's against the current. And then there's our total. Agreed? Can we fill in some of these blanks? Sure we can. What is his distance? Well, he traveled 24 with the current, traveled 24 against the current, for a total of 48. Do we agree? Okay. Do we know how fast he paddled? Do we know how fast he can paddle? So we have an unknown value, don't we? What do we give an unknown value? A variable. What would be a good variable for speed? Hey, way to go, guys. Like you're reading my mind. Speed, speed. Now, when the current is helping him, what is happening to his speed? Is it getting faster or slower? Faster. So what math makes something bigger? Plus 2. What's happening when the current is against him? So what math is slowing him down? Minus 2. Woo-hoo-hoo! Look at you guys. Now, this is where it gets really tricky. What is his time? Oh, look, my little highlighter circle has accidentally come up to here. What are the chances that it ended up there? What is his time? How did you know? 24 divided by s plus 2. So what's his time over here? 24 over s minus 2. And what is his total time? 9 hours. Now, where in this chart, in lovely gold, sky blue, or coral pink, do you see a spot where you can solve for our unknown? To solve for our unknown, we need unknowns and an answer. Which row gives us that? I'm going to pretend that you're being facetious, Jack. Oh, I have pulled the page down to only one row that is showing. It is indeed this row. How will we do this? It will be 24 over s plus 2 plus 24 over s minus 2 will equal 9, right? What is our common denominator? S plus 2, s minus 2, yes? So what does this guy need? S plus 2. What does this guy need? S minus 2, you guys. What's this guy need? S plus 2. What's this guy need? Both, which is s squared plus 4s plus 4, right? So, now, what do I get here? 24 s plus 2. What do I get here? Or minus 2. Oh yeah, minus 4. Sorry. S squared minus 4. Thank you. S minus 2 and 24 s plus 2 equals 9 s squared minus 36, right? And now what would we do? More math. 24s minus 48 plus 24s plus 48 equals 9s squared minus 36. Now what do we do? Collect like terms. 48s are gone. 24 and 24 is what? 48s. Bring that over to get what? 9s squared minus 48s minus 36 equals what? 0. Now what? Divide by 9? 48 goes into 9 goes into 48? No, but we could divide by something. What? 3. 3s squared minus 16s minus 12. Now what? Factor. Factor what? Right here, yes? How do we factor that? I have to multiply to what? Multiply to negative 36 and add to what? Negative 16. What is it? Is it 1 and 36? Is it 18 and 2? Yes. So it is S plus 2 over 3 and S minus 18 over 3, correct? Now, if we were just factoring, I would insist you move that 3 up there, wouldn't I? But do we need to? No, because we only care about what S is, right? And this is really 6, yeah? So I only care about this. So it is S must equal negative 2/3 or what? 6. Which of those is the only possible answer? 6. Why? Can you have a negative speed? You can have a negative velocity. We've all done physics, but can you have a negative speed? No. So, how fast was dude paddling? 6K an hour. Everybody Gouda? Now please notice, once again, it all comes back to math that we knew already. We're going to do one more together, and then you guys are going to work on a bunch. Turn the page over. What do you see? Other than the comedy. Because the comedy is always good in this room. That's the one guarantee you're going to get. Good comedy. Well, not really. You're going to get comedy. It is arguable if it is indeed good or not. YouTube classifies my math videos as comedy. I know. It's hurtful. I'm just trying to fight ignorance here. What do we got? Is it the same type of question? So do I need all that speed, time, distance stuff? Probably. Speed equals d over t. D equals what? S times t. And t equals d over s. Now, let's set it up. Does it matter what order we go down this side? Doesn't, right? Speed, distance, time, who cares? But, let's read. 140-mile bike race, Speedy McWhirly Pedals completed the race in 8.5 hours. So what do we have there? That's a total, yeah? In time of 8.5. Agreed? At the halfway point, a large headwind slowed Speedy's return by 6 miles per hour. So we have his speed with no wind, and we have the speed with the wind. What was his speed? Do we know? Do we know his speed? Yes or no? No. So what do we give it? S. What happened when the wind hit him? S minus 6. Do we know the distance? The whole thing was 140. How much of it had no wind? Half, which is what? It's down.
I have to go look at it.
Yeah, okay.
It looks like it's all watertight.
No, there's a bubble about pretty much where I put my back foot.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, buddy.
But it's up to you. And you'll need to scrape that wax off. It's had some old wax.
Oh, yeah, put a fresh coat on.
I lent Mr. Van B my surfboard. It's bright, or it's dark green on the bottom and yellow on the top, so I say it's a plantain because it's really long. Do any of you know what plantains are?
Peanuts.
No, that's a legume. Plantains are the big thing that eventually became bananas. They're green, but they're yellow on the inside. Kaio knows all about them because they're patacones, but he doesn't call them that. What do you call fried bananas or fried plantains in Brazil? You don't have fried plantains? What? You're lost, buddy. Fried plantains are awesome. I told you what it is, a plantain. It's like a banana, but you can't eat it raw. You got to cook it because they're too hard in the middle. They're like a potato. You peel them, you cut them thin, you fry them a little bit, then you mash them, then you fry them again, and they're awesome. Anyway, what was the distance? 70. What's the time? I did the order differently to mess with your heads. What is the time? 70 over S. 70 over S minus 6. And where is our row that has everything? Down at the bottom. 70S plus 70 over S minus 6 equals 8.5. And of course you would solve it, yes? Now, what is going to happen here? As soon as you see 8.5, is it going to be pretty? No. Is it going to factor? Probably not. So what are we going to have to use? Quadratic formula. Is that quadratic formula? In that quadratic formula, is that quadratic formula going to give us a positive and a negative root? And which one should we disregard? Let's see, shall we? What's our common denominator? It's S squared plus 6S. Agreed? Or S or minus 6S. Or S and S minus 6, yeah? Right? Right? Yes or no? S squared minus 6S is just this, right? Okay, so what does this guy need? S minus 6. What does this guy need? S. What does this guy need? S squared minus 6S, yes? So, I got 70S minus, everyone's going to laugh now, 420 plus 70S. I like grade 11s. They don't laugh at that joke. Well done. Grade 10s can't get by that number. I don't know why. I don't get it. Something to do with you crazy kids. 70S equals 8.5S squared minus, now I can't do that in my head very well, 6 times 8, 52. Yeah? Now what? Collect like terms. 0 equals 8.5S squared. 70 plus 70 is 140, yes? Negative 52 minus 140 is negative 192S plus 420. Yeah? Now what do we do with that? What do we do with that? We run it through the quadratic formula, right? So what will it be? S will equal what? Could I also put that in my graphing calculator? I could, couldn't I? And I would find what? The maximum, the minimum, the intercepts, the roots, the zeros. What is it on the graphing calculator? It's not called roots. What is it? Zeros, right. Okay, so what's it going to be? It's going to be negative b, which is 192, plus or minus the root of what? 192 squared, right? (192 squared minus 4 times 8.5 times 420). And what do you get? Over 17, right? right? Then you get 192 plus or minus approximately 150 over 17, yeah? 192 plus 150. That it gets you 20 approximately for speed. And 192 minus 150 gets you approximately 2.5. Uh-oh, they're both positive. Which is the right answer? Look again. 2.5 and 20 are both values of S, yes? Where do you see an S? I see an S right there. That could be 2.5 or 20. I see an S right there. What's that? If that's 2.5, was he riding home? Why not? Because 2.5 minus 6 is negative. Everybody understand? Now you see how I led you? I took a preconceived knowledge that you might have had. The first thing you said was there'd be positive and negative, right? Turns out there wasn't. They were both positive. But do I still have to check? Because one of them couldn't possibly work. Does everybody understand? Okay. You, ladies and gentlemen, the answers are still there. That was close. Are doing the rest of this page. Is there more? 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the page over. What's that? What the heck? Maybe that's the review. Don't look. Is the first question in your review for each rational expression on the next page? Yes, okay. So you are just doing these 4 questions. Go.